kidding me? There's a shot on play. They score! But now switches hands. He scores! Oh, my goodness!
The sun is setting on the 2022 regular season, and tonight, pride on the line. For Mark Matthews in Saskatchewan and Jeremy Thompson of Panther City, it's the Rush and Panther City from Fort Worth, Texas, next. From Dickies Arena in Fort Worth, Texas, two teams will end their 2022 season, both hoping to go out on a high note. Tonight inside Dickies, it's going to be Panther City and the Rush. Neither team's going to be going to the postseason, but there are still two spots open, with three teams fighting for those spots. Georgia, Philadelphia, and Albany. Coming into tonight, 32 possible playoff scenarios. We're going to keep you posted on the playoffs throughout the night. Hello again, everybody. Along with Kieran Lemming, I'm Ron Thulin. Okay, you don't get to go to the playoffs, but talking to both coaches this week and tonight, there's still a lot to play for.
Yeah, especially for Panther City. Talking to Coach TK earlier this week, they have a lot of young players who can continue to build their resume in this league.
One player who is ending his career tonight, he's one of the all-time great. The Rush's Jeff Shatler. He won a title. He was the MVP. An outstanding career comes to a close tonight.
Yeah, Jeff Shatler started this league as a transition player out the back gate, continued to gain experience, and earning his spot as the highest scoring Indigenous player. He's been a big piece of this Rush dynasty, and people are going to remember him in this league for a long time. Him scoring goals and jumping the glass is pretty iconic for this league.
He epitomizes everything you want from an NLL player. Now for Panther City, they started the season 1-8, but they had such a great mix of veteran and young players, got back into the playoff picture, and they were led by Phil Caputo, who is having a career year.
Yeah, Phil Caputo is a wily veteran for this young Panther City franchise. At the age of 27, Coach TK calls him the leader, the one voice for all the younger guys. He does a great job setting an example, bringing lots of energy every night, putting his body on the line, diving to score goals. He's huge. Look for number 19 tonight.
And the players all look up to them. This is the third meeting between these two, each winning once. In two previous games, a total of 56 goals were scored. Could be high scoring tonight. Panther City and the Rush next. Anthems for Canada and the United States have finished, and we are set to get underway. Moments away from the opening face-off here inside of Dickies Arena. There is Phil Caputo. Talked about him in the open. Had a chance to visit with him a little bit today, and excited. He loved being in Fort Worth, Texas. Well, we talked about Jeff Shatler in the opening because we thought he was going to play. We have just been informed that Jeff Shatler is a healthy scratch tonight, will not be playing. We understand he is inside of Dickies Arena, and we're going to do everything we can to get him on the air and maybe interview him a little bit later. Big loss, though, because you and I were talking how excited we were to see him. Let's take a look at the coaching staff. That is Jimmy Quinlan, one of the original members of the team. He is the associate head coach now, but he is the head coach in waiting. He actually played with Panther City's head coach, Tracy Koloski. Tracy, a member of the Hall of Fame, one of the best ever. What a great job he has done, and he wore his lucky pink suit tonight, and these two got a thing going. Tracy Koloski calls Quinlan, he calls him Donnie from the Big Lebowski. And, of course, Quinlan calls Koloski Piker. You had to explain that to me, by the way. Let's meet today's starting goaltenders, brought to you by Guaranteed Rate. And making his first career start, a 22-year-old Cameron Dunkerley. He has played a total of 1 minute and 1 second so far this year. No goals, no saves. And for Panther City, it's going to be Kevin Orleman instead of Nick Demuth, I should say. Kevin Orleman, last game was April the 9th. He has played only one of the last 10 games, and you see the numbers on him. So both coaches going up with a little switching up as far as the goaltenders are concerned. Now, we talked about Phil Caputo in the opening, and he is standing by now with the third member of our broadcast team. Here's Maggie Hale.
All right, Ron, thank you. Phil, the talk around the league right now is that you've kind of revived your career by stepping into this leadership role on the team. Some of the rookies even calling you Uncle Phil. What kind of tone are you hoping to set for the team today, being a leader?
Just playing my game, getting out there, setting picks, getting my teammates open, just playing my game. Keep it simple.
And the last time we saw this team, we were standing right here in Dickies Arena. What are you hoping to change about your game today?
I think we just want to keep it simple, play fast, have fun, play loose, but also playing for pride here for our fans, so we want to come out with a win.
All right, thank you. Ron?
He's one of the players, too, who lives here in Fort Worth during the season. He's given so much to the community. They did a big deal with the Special Olympics about a week ago. Well, tonight's opening face-off is brought to you by BetMGM, the league's official sports book partner. Now, tonight's opening face-off is brought to you by BetMGM, the league's official sports book partner. And it's Jeremy Thompson for Panther City. 16 face-off wins from 2000. That'd be fourth best in the NLL, and he is going up against one of the best ones in the league, Mike Messenger. And we were talking to the coaching staffs and each other before the game. Messenger likes to get into it.
Yeah, Mike Messenger's a big body. He can make a lot of room when he's up playing on the offensive side of the ball.
And we are set. Final game of the regular season for both of these teams. Both come in with a record of 7-10. Panther City's won 3 of their last 4 home games, and Saskatchewan coming in riding a 3-game winning streak. And they're going to go on offense right off the bat. And you can see the money line for tonight, Saskatchewan and Panther City. Saskatchewan is the favorite. Here's Panther City's first possession of the game. You look at what they've done. It's so important for Panther City. We've seen the history this year of them starting out quickly and having success.
Yeah, hopefully they can be as potent offensively as they were last time.
Well, you look at the numbers, they're only 2-8 when they trail after the first quarter. Shot clock inside of 4. Trying to get something cutting towards the net. That'll be a shot clock violation. Will go the other way. Saskatchewan, one of the things Coach Quinlan was talking to us about, he says, we're playing a lot more loose now, and we're punching back. That's going to be a penalty. Taking a big hit, and we're going to get a big rough and tumble. And coaches were talking about, they thought that might happen. Church took quite a hit. He went down, and the penalty will go against Panther City. Actually, they're going to have a double here.
Yeah, we saw this from the Rush last week coming out of halftime. The Rush take care of their own. They're not going to let guys take liberties.
So Chad Cummings will head to the penalty box for Panther City. And Mike Messenger will go into the penalty box for Saskatchewan. Look at it again.
Yeah, Cummings was trying to come around the pick, and he just got him a little too high there.
I don't think it was intentional.
I mean, you see Messenger come flying in there. He's definitely, they've played a lot together. He's definitely going to look after. They've been longtime teammates outside of just the Rush.
Messenger doesn't lose a lot of face-off, and we saw the aggressiveness in last week's game against San Diego where they won 17-14.
City penalty on number 10, 5-minute high stick. We then have a dead ball penalty on 2 minutes, roughing.
So it's a 5-minute high stick against Panther City. Fans didn't like it.
And it looks like because those penalties aren't offsetting, we're going to have some 4-on-4.
Oh, that makes it interesting. As Tracy Koluski talking to his team, he said, yes, it is a matter of pride this week. He said, we have stuck by what we want to do at the beginning of the year. We're going to keep going on that. He said, we want to continue to build the locker room, even tonight. Ball goes high up in the air. Sask comes up with it, and they'll set things up offensively. Good job defensively by Panther City. Matthews looks inside. Great dish inside. Orleman there for the save.
Yeah, Keenan couldn't just hold on to that one, but that was a great opportunity.
And here is Panther City. The offense can be potent at times. One of the things Tracy Koluski has preached to these guys is don't stay out so wide. We've got to get in the middle. Use the quick stick. Shot on goal.
Ooh.
Won't go down for Patrick Dodge.
Looks like he put it off of Milligan there.
I tell you, Patrick Dodge, second best rookie in scoring and assists. Quick shot, no. Panther City with a little breakaway. Have a chance at it.
Let's see.
A little one-on-one action. The shot, fake,
Oh.
shot, no, wide left.
That's got to be a big save for Dunkerley's confidence early in this game.
Again, that would be his first career save this year. What an opportunity for that young man. Again, we mentioned only 22 years of age, Dunkerley.
Well, and the Rush really believe in him. They want to win this game. They're not, just building for the future. They think he can get it done in this game.
Well, he spent 2020 season as the third-team goalie. Quickly up ahead, here is Corbeil, outstanding defensive player. Saskatchewan, a great defensive team, and here comes another breakaway. He's going to get another opportunity, and again wide to the right.
Yeah, both Medeiros and Burns, they just went straight in on those breakaways. It's hard to tell how much time they have with guys behind them, but if they can get a little wider and then finish in front, they can kind of maybe make more of those opportunities.
And Matthews will set things up. Near side, out of the penalty box comes Messenger. Power play now for Saskatchewan.
Oh.
Shot, no. Matthews gets it again, and he'll set things up again.
Yeah, I thought Messenger was going to stay for that power play. I mean, he does an excellent job sealing guys.
Matthews on top. Playing catch. Matthews looking for an opening. Rifles it, scores! Well,
Yeah.
you saw the numbers of Saskatchewan and their penalty. Just add another one to that.
Yeah, you see that a lot with Church and Matthews passing back and forth from the top, and Matthews can shoot from the outside, so, man downs have to be ready.
Take a look at it one more time. Break it down, partner.
Yeah, again, that ball movement really is making Orleman move. And, Matthews can shoot. If he has that much time and space, he can make the most out of those opportunities.
Matthews' 29th goal of the season. He is so strong. In the last game against San Diego, he had 8 assists, so he's a very versatile player. Now Panther City again getting down to the count. Got to get a little more fluid offensively. They started so slowly in last week's loss to Georgia here inside of Dickies Arena. That's one of the things Tracy Koloski talked about with his team. Now Caputo goes near side. Dodds pops out front. They're looking for Caputo, who's lurking. He gets the pick. Here's Caputo. Lost it.
Yeah, Caputo is such a good off-ball player, just working to get open, and, he's always ready with a quick stick.
And Rubish came up with a loose ball, and again, with 1:51 remaining in the 5-minute penalty against Panther City, power play continues.
Yeah, Matthews running the point on that power play. It's hard that those defenders know if they overcommit, those shooters are going to be open.
Keenan, great pass inside. They try to sneak it in. Stop. Good job by Orleman. Quickly up ahead. This is what Tracy Koloski wants. He wants that quick transition.
Yeah, they did a good job getting the ball up the floor there, but they needed a couple guys to head to the bench sooner just so they've got guys ready to receive the ball.
And now Malcolm will run the point out front.
Yeah,
Malcolm has had an outstanding year.
Even though they're man down here, they got to be a little aggressive. They got to try to get a good shot here.
A little behind the back, no.
They don't want to let Dunkerley get too confident.
Here you go. Thompson fights for the loose ball. He's done an outstanding job at that all season long for Panther City. He's only 5 loose balls away from 1,500 for his career. Now Keenan out front. Again to Matthews. Matthews looking. Matthews surveys. Matthew big at 6'5", 230.
And he's just such a threat from up top. He can go forehand in front of him, but he has no problem being accurate going behind the back.
Shot and goal. It looked like Orleman originally made the save, but it snuck in behind him. And Paulus will be credited with the goal.
Yeah, it looked like it was a 5-hole shot there that just trickled through. Let's see this replay here. Yeah, the defenders turned their back, giving Paulus tons of time and space. He could really read and put a lot of power onto that one.
So Paulus scores at the 9:23 mark here in the opening quarter. Paulus picks up the goal. That's only his 4th goal of the season. Didn't even play last week. He was a scratch in that game. And he's played only 3 games since January the 8th. Now getting an opportunity as 2022 comes to an end. 2-0 lead now for Saskatchewan.
Yeah, especially with the departure of Schattler, I think Paulus is going to have a bigger and bigger role within this offensive unit.
It's interesting how the coaches are mixing and matching.
There
Shot
we go.
And score!
It's a great job by Grennan to get the Panther City offense going.
No hesitation by Nathan Grennan, getting his 18th goal of the season.
As the defense is talking, it looks like he, to jump or switch the pick, he had time. He was far enough back to get his hands free. I don't think Duckerley saw that coming at all. Did an excellent job hiding his hands and hiding his stick. Put it far side. Oh, 5-hole.
Well, Grennan, who said his pregame routine includes eating Wheaties in the morning. Ate his Wheaties today, that's for sure. Nate, I'm trying to help you out, buddy. Get a little sponsorship deal here, you know. You can send the check. So it's a 2-1 game inside of 9 minutes to play here in the opening quarter. Shot goes wide to the side. Bobby Kidd III, who has had an outstanding year, such an athletic player. Coaches are high on him. He came up with a loose ball, and they'll set things up again. Both teams back at full strength.
Yeah, BK3 did an excellent job last week pushing transition and getting himself 2 goals.
Orleman has to come out. Dangerous. Ball is flipped up in the air. Saskatchewan still has it.
Oh.
Shot, no! Point blank range. They couldn't put it away by Holden Garland.
Yeah, it looked like that was right off the pipe, clearly past Orleman, but
Malcolm comes out of the chute quickly, but then he waits for the rest of the white jerseys. It's whiteout night. That's why Panther City's wearing their white uniforms, and they're extremely hard to read the numbers. And here comes Saskatchewan. Here is Rubish, 33-year-old free agent at the end of the year for Saskatchewan. Connor McClellan also in. His shot, no.
it's snagged by Sellers there. Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see what the Saskatchewan Rush roster looks like heading into the offseason and free agency. They've had some guys like Rubish that are going to be free agents that have been with this franchise for an awful long time.
Now we've got a timeout on the floor. Saskatchewan, they've won 3 of the last 5 NLL titles. And here in Fort Worth tonight, they lead Panther City 2-1.
The National Lacrosse League is brought to you by Guaranteed Rate. If you believe it, you can do it. Guaranteed Rate. Believe you will. FanaticsNLLshop.com, a Fanatics experience. Officially licensed everything. And by BetMGM, the official sportsbook of the NLL. Get the BetMGM app today. Now you're winning with the king of sportsbooks. Please bet responsibly.
Hello, Kieran Lemming. I'm Ron Thulin. Beautiful day in Fort Worth, Texas today. Temperature's supposed to be up near the 90s tomorrow. Once again, second meeting between these two teams. Panther City lost the first game between these two back on January the 29th, 16-7. As Saskatchewan just came out smoking in that game, and almost Panther City gave away game 2 back on March 5th, allowing Saskatchewan to score a couple of goals late, including one in the closing seconds. But Panther City was able to win that ball game in overtime, 17-16. That was game 2, by the way, of a 5-game win streak. Here is Patrick Dodds. Told me last week, he said, I'm just trying to do what I can do. He said, I came into this year going, I want 50 points. He's exceeded that this season.
Yeah, and I know Patrick Dodds, his name's come up for Rookie of the Year contention, but it just blows my mind. He's going back for another year of junior lacrosse this summer. I think
Amazing.
he's one of the only impact guys who's only 20 years old and still has another year to chase him into.
Shot wide to the right. Jeff Teed, of course, the top goal scorer among rookies. His father, an assistant coach with Panther City. And happy birthday, Jeff, today. I think you're 25. Malcolm shot. Tried to bounce it. Couldn't get it. Or check that. That's Cam Milligan.
Yeah.
Milligan, one of the outstanding additions. Shot and score.
Again,
I knew I was going to get Malcolm in there sometime.
Again, a lot like Grennan's goal, catching the defense, talking through that pick. Just catching the defense, talking through that pick, having his hands free, and finding the back of the net. Again, I don't know if Dunkerley saw it as that defenseman was coming out to Malcolm.
Malcolm, his 27th goal of the season. He now has 78 points. He has been quite an addition to the team. One of those players that lives here in Fort Worth and has given so much back to the community. We talked at the beginning of the year about how quick his feet were, and as the year progressed, we saw not only that, but how shifty he is.
Yeah, he does a great job stopping and going, and once he gets his momentum going, he's really fast.
So Sask went up 2-0. Panther City come back 2 consecutive goals in less than 3 minutes, and they've got possession of it now again. Connor Sellers will go off, set up the offense. A little bounce shot, no. So do you think if you look at Cameron Dunkerley, he gives up 2 goals, but can that be a good thing? Like, now time to relax.
Yeah, definitely, you know, goalies and their mentality are a whole other ball game, but knowing that he can make some mistakes, you know, these guys believe in him. It's not his first year. He came in relief to help shoot out last week.
Al Caputo knocked off the ball. That is a vicious hit coming from Jeff Cornwall, whose brother, of course, Travis, plays for Panther City. Actually had Panther City's first goal. Boy, that take a shot. Bobby Kidd, the third, he took a big-time shot. Shot, score! Streaking in from the right side is Jeff Cornwall, getting his 7th goal of the season.
Yeah, that's a great job pushing transition and getting that shot off. It's almost like a cross-body twister there.
Take a look at it again. Boy, Cornwall came out like a rocket.
Yeah, it can't. Malcolm was really trying to catch him so close, and it's such a difficult shot. I think Orleman didn't really expect it, especially coming out at that angle.
Cornwall in his 7th season playing in the league.
And the Rush have those athletes. They can push transition individually.
You know, Panther City has 6 players whose brothers play in the NLL. Of course, Travis Cornwall, Jeff, Matt Hossick, Graham, his brother, Malcolm, his brother Tony, Kevin Orleman's brother Steven, Randy Stotts. Of course, his brother Austin plays for San Diego, and Jeremy Thompson's got a couple of brothers who play for Georgia. A couple of brother combinations going on here in the league.
Makes you a lot tougher when you got someone to beat up on.
Yeah, really. And it's so interesting when you talk to like Jeremy Thompson and even Travis Cornwall about their relationship with their brother. They said, we'd rather play on the same team, but it's always been fun. A little battle on the inside. Things are getting a little bit feisty, and Farrell runs off. And we've got a stoppage in play, and I think we're going to have a timeout. Talked at the top of the show how this could be a high-scoring game, and so far here in the first, it has been. Sask leading Panther City 3-2.
All right, Coach, thanks for spending your time with me. So last time these 2 teams met, there was a lot of aggression, and we're seeing this again. These teams definitely make an aggressive matchup. What do you think that reason is?
Well, I think it's just 2 scrappy teams that realize that in order for them to be successful, they got to play hard. And so you got to make sure that you're not bordering on, too aggressive, but at the same time, you need that good controlled aggression.
All right, thanks, Coach. Ron?
Had a great visit with Jimmy before the game, and he was talking about what a great opportunity this was for him. He says it was sad that one of my good friends had to be relieved of his duties, but he knew what was in front of him. He wanted to take the chance, and he had a great outlook. After they gave up a quick goal last week, he said he turned to his team, he goes, we didn't want to get the first save anyway. And the team laughed, and he said, that's what we want to do. We want to make it fun.
Yeah, and despite being in their position in the standings, it can be a difficult position for a team, obviously wanting to do better, but they have to, like you said, they started playing lacrosse because it's fun. They should enjoy it now.
Malcolm tried to cut right side, couldn't get it. Thompson picks up loose ball, shot clock at 13. Malcolm, couple of head fakes, looking. No, Dodge was not even close to it. And Dunkerley comes up. Back on offense with the captain, Chris Corbeil. He will go off. Big hit by Panther City. Good job by Liam Burns. He's had an outstanding season. Shot, no. Good job, Orleman. Kicks it away right side. Here comes Connor Sellers in his 5th season. Had 78 loose balls coming into the game. The big shot, no. Rebound, can't get it. You're looking at Dunkerley. Does he play straight up? Does he play too far out? What have you seen in his game?
I've never been a keen observer of the goalies, and I also know
you just want to score on them, right?
Yeah,
okay.
When you also there's guys that are really successful, being unconventional and non-traditional. So honestly, whatever you got to do to keep the ball out of the cage.
Once again, they started the season, Saskatchewan, with some questions at goaltending. Adam Shute came in, and then he was replaced by Eric Penny, but Eric Penny getting the season-ending injury. He was brought in to make saves, and he actually did a good job. Then Shute, part of this win streak, he's done a nice job coming off the bench. Shot clock inside of 5. Malcolm, no place to go. They're not going to get a shot off. That'll be a shot clock violation.
It was a great roll by Grennan there to try to get underneath.
And we are inside of 2:25 to play. Sass out shooting Panther City 8-6 so far here in the early going. Here the teams, both teams pounding on the boards. Keenan now near side. He's trying to get away, trying to work off a pick. Taken away on the break. It's a 2-on-1. Panther City's had 2 breakaways, have not connected, and this one they get. Josh Medeiros coming up with a goal.
And I know Coach TK is going to be happy to see that the defensive guys can help get the offense going as well. Medeiros and Foley, I believe, pushing that 2-on-1. Either can be a threat to score. But yeah, another trickler.
Slightly another trickler. That's only the 8th goal for Medeiros, mainly known as shot blocking. But he told me last week, spent some time with him, he said, I know my role on this team. He goes, my role is to help us win. He goes, if it's offense, if it's defense, if it's being aggressive, it doesn't matter. He goes, I just want to win here in Fort Worth.
His play clearly shows that too. He's a scrappy player who just does whatever he can for the betterment of the team.
Well, I tell you, this is some of the big time hits we've seen so far this season. Everybody knocking around. Hasek comes up with it. Panther City will set up. We're tied with 1:43 to play here in the opening quarter.
And I would say both these teams are coming off of pretty physical games last weekend.
And that's what Tracy Koloski said. He goes, our team has got to be more physical. He felt Georgia just had the upper hand on that. Dodge tried to sneak it in on the inside. They lost it with 1:24 to play in the opening quarter. Tied up at 3. Little unforced error by the Rush. Here is Liam Patton. Gives it up. Shot, no. Boy, that could have been a dangerous situation. Somebody getting hurt. Panther City will retain possession.
Yeah, that's part of the beauty of Grennan and Malcolm's games. They on the left side, they work hard. They go to the dirty places. They get hit, but they get back up and do it again.
Grennan is feisty, to say the least. Inside of 45 to play in the opening quarter. Rush looking, no. Good stop by Orleman. Ball loose in the crease, and it's covered up. So there's about an 8-second difference between the shot and the game clock as we head to the end of quarter number 1. Here is Caputo near side. Wasn't even playing offense till just a couple of years ago. Players telling us he is a big addition to this team. Milligan's pass off the mark. Trying to keep it alive, but the shot clock's inside of 5. Shot, no! Good save by Dunkerley. Went down to one knee. And a little extracurricular activity. And it's going to be called a push with 5.9 to play in the quarter.
It looks like they're going to bring Orleman and go 6-on-5.
And I think you're right. Orleman is headed over to the bench, and he's sitting down.
Yeah, I will say it looks like Dunkerley's staying a little early in the possessions, staying back in the cage a little bit more, and waiting till he sees Shooter ready to wind up before he's taking a step out. Kind of at the other end, we see Orleman plays out pretty far. And that last shot, he was almost standing on the crease line.
Now 6.5 left. They added some time. Tracy Koluski on the far side. You know, we've been with him a lot this season. He has not changed. He knows exactly what he wants to do. And I was talking to some of the other people who have played with him. He said he's coaching the way he played.
Yeah, he competes in everything he does. I know we talked about it last time I was with you. You see it at practice, at shoot around. You know, they're trying to make shots. They want to compete all the time.
They have built a solid foundation.
Oh.
Final second shot, score with 1 second left on the clock. Patrick Dodds with a goal.
I got to imagine that's exactly how Coach T drew it up.
Take a look at it again.
Yeah, the defender pushes out, and Dodds catches Grennan cutting to the middle there.
So give that to Grennan. That's his second goal of the ball game. With 1 second left to play.
And that's exactly where you want to see shots, right at the hips, above the leg pads, but under his arm. It's a tough save for goalie to make.
Grennan coming off his second hat trick of the season last week versus Georgia. For the first time tonight, Panther City has the lead, and that's the way the first quarter will come to an end. 15 total shots between the two teams, 7 goals. Dunkerley making his first career start. Admirable so far. But after the first quarter of play, Panther City leading the rush 4-3, second quarter straight ahead. You talk about the double trouble for Saskatchewan. Church has already 2 assists. Matthews has a goal, and Tracy Koluski telling us there's those 100-100 guys. 100% of the time they're on the floor. You got to give them 100% of your attention.
Yeah, and they can score so many different ways. Church works off ball. He gets inside. He's got, silky mitts. He can finish, and then Matthews can shoot from everywhere, and he's really a quarterback when the ball's in his stick.
Well, Church this year, he has scored 5 times versus Panther City. He's had the hot hand the last couple of weeks. As we head to quarter number 2, Panther City with their first lead of the game, 4-3, trying to get their 8th win of the season, as is Saskatchewan. Loose stick. Quick shot, score! Rubish with his second goal of the season. That was quick, 9 seconds to be exact.
Again, seeing defensive guys push transition and make the most out of the opportunities they get, that's huge. And especially for a guy who's been around this organization so long.
And look at it again.
Yeah, you don't expect to see a lot of defensemen dropping their hands and going low to high like that, but he just tucks it right underneath the pipe, and Orleman drops and gets right above his shoulder.
6-time All-League first team, 4-time Defensive Player of the Year. Member of the All-Rookie team. He's known for forcing turnovers, number 4 in the league in that. But tonight he gets the goal. That's always sweet when you don't score a whole lot, then you get that chance.
Yeah, it's a little tough on Panther City. That was a great timeout, great play to take the lead, and then it just disappears.
No, there's a stick on the rug. Somebody is stickless. Finally pick it up. It was Cummings had to come get it. Plenty of time on the shot clock. Saskatchewan going to work offensively. Church trying to find a little seam. Cuts. Now he bounces back out as they set things up. Big Matthews lost the ball. Shot clock 2. They're not going to get it off anyway.
And I think part of the great part about Matthews and Church's play is having a lefty and a righty, that both of them can work off ball, and they can find each other, especially growing the chemistry they've grown to have playing on the same team for so long.
Tracy Koluski said we got to manufacture goals. Everybody's got to pull together. It comes down ball movement side to side. Didn't get much movement on that. Saskatchewan quickly down the other end. Mallory near side. So Saskatchewan +4 as far as shots. A nice little fake. Panther City trying to bang up the middle. Nice job. Orleman puts out the left hand, didn't knocked it away. Tied at 4.
And we'll have a delayed penalty here as Orleman heads to the bench.
Panther City's got to take advantage of this. Malcolm sets things up. And they're going to take their time. Looking for Malcolm again. Quick shot. No. Bounces high. Panther City still has it. Shot clock at 2. Shot. Dunkerley goes to his knees to make the save, but there's going to be a penalty against the Rush.
Yeah, you could see the hold back there as he was trying to get it out of his stick. I wasn't sure if it was Courier or...
Well, that's going to be a 2-minute holding penalty.
Oh, on Mallory.
And Mallory has to sit. Now, can Panther City take advantage of it? Their power play at times has been good. They're number 6 in the league in power play. It got much better when Farrell and Milligan joined the team. They wanted somebody like Milligan to run the point when it came to their penalty. Oh, we get it right away. That didn't take long for Dodds.
Yeah, Patrick Dodds wastes no time on the power play. Getting to that half-board spot, just like the lefties were, as the defense were trying to decide when to go. He has his hands free, and he can make the most of it. Looks like he shoots right around Holden Garland.
So Panther City again takes the advantage at 5-4 as Patrick Dodds picks up the goal. As mentioned, number 2 rookie in assists and points. He gets his 25th goal of the season. And again, 82 points on the season. He said he wanted 50. I think he's done pretty well on that.
Yeah.
You know, when you spend time with him, he's such a humble young man, too. Still young, learning the game.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see how his career progresses.
And one of the keys for him is when he had COVID. Shot and score by Caputo.
Phil Caputo's continuing been working off ball, but yeah, I'm glad to see him get his hands free and get a shot. He just had some time. Looks like a little bit of a miscommunication by the defense. A few extra steps, and he just picks that bottom corner, low to low.
Well, you know, you talk about getting a second chance. You look at Caputo and Milligan and Farrell, all about the same age at 27. Caputo has really taken advantage of it, has found a home here.
And I really think of Caputo a lot like when we were talking about Medeiros earlier. He'll do whatever he has to. He'll just go set picks for Dodds if he has to. He's whatever to make the team better.
Now he's got a career high in points and goals this season. And as we mentioned at the top of the show, it's been his leadership that has been huge. So Panther City with a 2-goal advantage. Saskatchewan, though, able to score. Quick team. Garland now runs off. They'll set things up offensively. Tried to slip it on near side. Ball knocked around. Still being kicked around. Matthews comes up with it. Up the top. Nice save. Orleman went way out for that.
Yeah,
Tried to get a quick break.
Yeah, you see Matthews coming behind the crease. His head's up the entire time. He's just looking to feed.
Hutchison, near side. Panther City trying to get their offensive players back on the floor. Grennan trying to sneak right side. Ball is loose. 6 to shoot. On top. Good job defensively by the Rush, and they come out with it. Corbeil. Near side here is Church. Church, the 30-year-old. 3 games, 4 or more goals this season. He has as many as 5 this year. Again, Orleman with a save. And another breakaway. Excellent opportunity. Shot. No! Good job by Dunkerley.
Medeiros is determined to get one. He's recognizing on defense when are the good times to get up the floor, and so his teammates can hit him with a pass to get him a breakaway.
What was impressive there is Dunkerley didn't overcommit early in that.
No, for a young goaltender, he's doing a good job. He's staying in it. He's staying confident. I think a lot of that goes to probably the confidence his teammates have in him.
Shot, score over the top side of Orleman. Orleman thought he had the block.
Yeah, you would think that he wouldn't be able to get that shot off. Defender draped all over him, but Robert Church, wrong side of the floor, can twist across and bar down Bobby, puts it off the bar and in.
So Church comes up with the goal. 10:40 remaining to be played in the half. And again, it's a 1-goal advantage for Panther City. Church first goal tonight, 37th of the season. 89 points now on the year. Tied for third shots on goal. Or shots total, fourth for shots on goal. Messenger comes up with the assist on that last goal, by the way. Here is Mallory near side. Looking for Keenan, makes the cut. Matthews uses that big body so well. Shot, nice job. Orleman had to go down, lost it momentarily. Panther City able to clean it up. 5 minutes gone by here in the second. Nice opportunity, overthrew Dodds. Still got control of it, try to set things up again.
Yeah, excellent job handling pressure, moving his feet and having his head up to find the open teammate.
Malcolm looks to use the middle. Shot by Dodds, no. Kick saved away by Dunkerley. Panther City, fresh 30 on the shot clock. Here's Malcolm. Tried to go wide side. Malcolm will clean it up. Shot clock at 18. Malcolm looks for an opening, shoots no wide right. And Malcolm gets clobbered under the boards. Now a little pushing and shoving going on down there. Rubish is going to have to be separated. And the officials are finally going to blow a whistle. Rubish just leveled Will Malcolm.
Yeah, Grennan's definitely going to look after his roommate there.
And we're going to take a timeout. The officials are going to sort things out. 9:09 to play in the opening half. We got a good one inside of Dickies Arena in Fort Worth. 6-5. Panther City leads.
Welcome back from our short break. Coach TK, we've seen a trend in Panther City recently. A lot of the offense is really performing. We're seeing high-scoring games. What has the change been for the team?
We're just playing faster, right? We're playing by committee. Everybody's contributing up there offensively, which is a big part of our success.
All right, thanks, Coach. Ron?
All right, thanks, Maggie. To see the best highlights, features, content from around the National Lacrosse League, make sure to follow the NLL on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. Glad to have you with us tonight here in Fort Worth, Texas. Inaugural season for Panther City, along with Kieran Lemming and Maggie Hale. I'm Ron Thulin. I tell you, the interest is growing, except this is kind of a bad weekend because a lot of the high school teams and other teams around this area, the Dallas-Fort Worth area, they're playing in their state tournaments now.
Yeah, high school, the first round of high school state playoffs started today, and all the youth teams are up in McKinney. Some games are going on right now.
Which is north of Dallas. Church throws it away, an unforced error. Panther City quickly tries to get back on offense, get something going. With a 1-goal advantage. Malcolm on top, gives it up near side. Looking for Farrell. Knocked away. Saskatchewan with an opportunity. Shot clock did not reset, but Sass will come up with it.
Yeah, Panther City's doing a great job. We heard Coach TK last week talk about going east to west, side to side, and I mean they're finding outside shots they like. That last one, Patrick Dodd's putting it off the pipe. And
when they don't do that, that's when they struggle scoring. You know, in box lacrosse, you got to get into the middle to get the shots. Tried a little scoop shot, did not phase Kevin Orleman.
Looks like they got some numbers here for a 3-on-2.
I like the way Panther City's been coming out strong again. Dunkerley goes to the knees, makes the save.
Panther City just really wants to score 5-hole.
I tell you, Dunkerley has been impressive. Here is Matt Beers near side. He's going to be double teamed. Finally gives it up. Beers will go off as we go inside of 7:45 to play in the half. Shot no. Orleman, good save. This has been a pretty fast transition for Panther City. No, good job, Dunkerley.
Things are definitely starting to get physical.
You know, and both coaches told us this week it was going to be an intense game. But you have to wonder, it's your last game. Do you want to take a chance of getting hurt? Or do you want to come out aggressive and get all that anxiety that has built up from the season out?
What's the quote with Gene Hackman and the replacements? You have no tomorrow, makes you very dangerous individuals.
That's exactly right. That's a good job.
It's one of my favorite movies.
So we've mentioned Big Lebowski tonight. We've mentioned him. All right. Panther City looking for a shot.
What a shot.
Score! Connor Sellers. He shoots right. Big 6'2", 215 gets the goal.
Love to see the defensive guys continue to contribute on the offensive side of the ball. Excellent job pushing transition. If you have time and space, they want to leave you open for a shot, take it. I mean, he puts it right under the crossbar. That's great by Sellers.
Connor Sellers, that's his first goal of the season, and he's been plagued by a hamstring problem this year. Finally got healthy. Good to have him get on the board and give Panther City another 2-goal advantage. You know, you look at the Saskatchewan team, they've had some hard luck losses this year. 6 road losses by 2 or less goals.
Yeah, I think they were 1-7 so far on the road this year.
Now Messenger and Thompson on the face-off. The Rush will have it. Less than 7 to play in the half. If you just joined us, Panther City led 4-3 at the end of 1. After Saskatchewan went up 2-0 early out of that opening quarter. Matthews goes near side, back on top. Matthews now lurking behind the back of the net and a forced turnover. Panther City again coming out fast with a 2-on-2. Now 3-on-2. Shot no. Good job, Dunkerley again.
Both defenses are just smothering right now.
Garland finally covered it up behind the net.
Really interested to see if the Rush can respond here. It's been shot for shot, blow for blow. Oh, I thought that was in.
I thought Courier was going to sneak that in. Orleman covered it up, and again, Panther City quickly down on the offensive end, and they'll wait for the rest of the guys to show up. Trottier goes off. They'll set it up with Malcolm near side. He goes far side. Still looking to get it in the middle. Caputo trying to make a big push inside. Panther City running into each other. Here is Malcolm. Malcolm will see a double team. Lost it. Shot clock at 5. Again, big hits near boards. I think it's going to be a penalty. I think it's going to be just a push, maybe.
Yep.
That's what it was. It was a push, so Panther City will have it. Fresh 30 on the shot clock. And again, nice defense by the Rush. Just double teaming Dodds. He knew he was going to be played physical tonight, and he is.
I mean, just going down the lineup, Mike Messenger, Kyle Rubish, Chris Corbeil, these are all, veteran defensemen. They know how to make it hurt.
You could add Ryan Dilks into that, too.
Yep.
An outstanding defensive player. There's bodies everywhere flying. Orleman picks up the loose ball. And they'll come the other way with it. Shot hit the crossbar. Boy, I thought Travis Cornwall would have had a goal. His brother already has one for Saskatchewan. Shot clock inside of 15. Cornwall will give it up.
Yeah, the Rush D guys need to find their way to the bench a little quicker. They're just getting their 5th offensive guy on, and there's only 10 seconds left in the shot clock. Oh.
Shot and a score right underneath the pads of Orleman.
Another trickler.
And another guy who's known for his defense, transition player, but a defensive player, Holden Garland coming up with a goal.
Yeah, both teams are finding success with the outside shots. If their hands are free, they're going to give it a go.
Here it is again.
Yeah, low to low and just gets it right underneath Orleman's leg pad and just finds its way to the back of the net.
And I think we saw there, too, the patience of Garland. He looked, and then he kind of got lower because he knew that was the only way he was going to get a shot off. Garland's been coming on strong. That's his 7th goal, but his first goal in the last 3+ games. His last goal he scored was against Panther City in that overtime loss. And it's a 1-goal game again. Closing in on 4 minutes to play in the second. Let's see how Panther City responds. And Saskatchewan is going to get going again. Again, Panther City coming out quickly. This time they'll probably hold things up.
Oh.
Maybe not.
This is a great try, but yeah, got to stay out of the crease. Oh, here we go.
Here's Beers, gives it up. Shot
Big
on
save.
Orland. Nice save. Corbeil had point-blank range, and they keep control of it. Corbeil doing a good job trying to keep the ball alive.
Matt Beers fighting hard to get the ball back.
I'll tell you, Matt Beers is so aggressive out there. Won the title in 2010 with Washington. He brings grit. He brings meanness to this team.
Yeah, Matt Beers had a very successful career in Vancouver. And I mean, he just joins a stacked defensive unit with the rush here.
Shot clock at 3. They got to get something off, and they're not going to do it. That'll be a shot clock violation. 3:08 to play in the half. And with that, we're going to get a timeout. We've got a good one going on inside of Dickies Arena in Fort Worth, Texas. The hometown guys, Panther City, leading the rush 7-6. Coming up on the Guaranteed Rate Halftime Report, we're going to take a look back at the season. We'll give you some ideas on MVP, Goaltender of the Year. Plus, we'll break down the first half. Plus, we're going to have a bunch of numbers for you to look at. All coming up on the Guaranteed Halftime Report in 3 minutes and 8 seconds, plus a commercial. All right, we've got one final already in tonight. This is a big one for Albany. They beat New York 17-9, and that gives them a playoff spot. Do you like that? 32 playoff scenarios coming into tonight. I'm glad I don't have to figure that out. Shot, score from the left side. Panther City goes back up by 2.
What a great shot by Patrick Dodds.
Dodds gets his second of the night.
Again, working to get underneath and make the defense switch, but as he's fading away and losing angle, he picks that bottom corner. Oh, sorry, 5-hole.
Whatever, Patrick Dodds, 26 goals on the season, second tonight in Panther City. They lead by a couple with 2:49 to play in the half. You know, it's interesting, and you go back to that 5-game win streak that Panther City had this year, and their second win was against Saskatchewan. That was a game that Tracy Kelusky said really turned this team around because they had the lead. They gave up a goal in the final few seconds of the contest to send it into overtime. They had the grit to win it. He said guys in the locker room finally looked at each other and said, you know, we can play this game, and we can make the playoffs.
Yeah, it's great seeing a team be that resilient.
And another breakaway. Shots.
Oh.
No!
Oh.
I don't think Dunkerley saw it, but it was a save.
Third breakaway from Deros.
Boy, he wanted that one too, didn't he?
Yeah, those are effort plays. Like I said, he's looking. He knows when he can go early.
Medeiros has been feisty all night tonight, closing in on 2 minutes to play. Panther City, 2+ shots on Saskatchewan. Shot goes high. Shot clock reset. And now they're going to pull their goalie.
Yeah, it looks like Patrick Foley got Lindner in the back.
Yeah, so there is a penalty against Saskatchewan on the power play. Here is Church. Shot no. Orleman goes down and covers it up.
Great ball movement, especially for playing a little further out. Orleman did a great job getting back to that pipe.
Panther City number 6 in penalty kills. And so it'll be the remaining part of quarter number 2 that Foley is going to be in the penalty box.
Yeah, it looks like Foley was letting the official know what he thought of his job there.
Patrick Foley, the rookie. Coach Koloski telling us he's having a great rookie season. They love his future with this team.
Man, the ball movement on this power play is just excellent. Palace is behind the back, down to the lefty crease guy was something special.
Panther City just enough to disrupt things up. Cummings chases it down, and they will take their time setting it up.
Yeah, they want to take as much time off of this penalty as they can. Use that whole shot clock.
Yeah, but the team's philosophy, and you talk to everybody, not only Coach Koloski, but also Dan Teat and Steve Toll, their philosophy is, we still want to score.
Oh, my God.
Shot, score, almost
I don't know
score.
how Phil Caputo keeps that in his stick.
And Caputo lost his stick again on the shot. Less than 50 to play here in the second. And Church will just walk it up, and they'll set up their power play. 59 seconds left in the power play, 40 seconds left in the quarter. Shot, score by Mark Matthews.
It's just so lethal from the outside. He does an excellent job running the point on this power play. Give him enough time and space, he's going to find a way to put it past the goalie.
Matthews got the first goal of the game for Saskatchewan, and he gets this one.
And it looks like he's really taking advantage of the fact that Orleman's dropping to his knees on those outside shots.
Good observation on that. So Matthews now hit the 30-point mark as far as goals scored this season.
As prolific as he is on the offensive side of the ball, I mean, we heard it last time he was here when he hit his milestone. He just wants to win. He's used to this team winning championships. He wants to get back to hoisting cups.
Well, he tied a season high 6 points versus Panther City last game. 2 goals, 4 assists. Now Panther City finds their lead cut to 1. Penalty off the clock. 25 seconds left to play in the half. Panther City 4-3 when they lead at halftime, just 2-5 when they trail. Shot clock inside of 10. Malcolm looks, throws it over near side. They're looking again to get to Malcolm. Shot, no. Dunkerley goes to the knees. Ball still loose. Knocked around, and we got a little kerfuffle, as they like to say. And it's not over yet.
And it looks like we had a timeout called there by Beers.
And we thought things would get a little feisty, and it has. 3.5 seconds left to play in the quarter. Is Dunkerley going to go to the bench now?
I would assume so, but it's only 3.5.
I tell you, when you look at when there are little scuffles, Grennan seems to be close to him a lot.
Yeah, he does not back down from any fight. You know, he plays like someone who's a lot bigger than he is.
How about Adam Shute giving Dunkerley a little attaboy there? Adam Shute not playing tonight. Started the last couple of games in those both wins. He had 60 saves in that, but they're giving the youngster a chance tonight. Cameron Dunkerley, his first career start, 3rd-round pick back in 2019. Only played 2 games coming in to this contest and a total of 61 seconds.
And it's so important as a young goalie having, you know, a supportive mentor in a goalie partner.
Yeah. Dunkerley was BC Junior A-League's most valuable player, first-team All-Star back in 2019. Spent the 2019 season in the Arena Lacrosse League with Paris, Ontario. Now you get a little smile out of him there, and for good reason.
Yeah, the ALL's been doing a great job to work as a farm system for this league. I believe that's where Milligan came in and coming in as a street agent, but being in midseason form.
Now final 2 seconds upcoming. Looking for a shot. No, wide to the right. Littner looked like he was trying to sneak it in the right side. Wasn't able to do it. First half is in the books, and Panther City with a lead at 8-7. And it's the kind of game I think we saw. We thought there'd be a lot of goals. We thought it'd get a little feisty. I think it's been just what coaches were predicting before the game.
Yeah, this is a lot like the last time they were here, going shot for shot. You know, it's really interesting to see what adjustments they're going to make at the halftime and who's going to be able to pull away.
Now, Maggie Hale has made her way out to the floor, and she's got one of the stars for Panther City in the first 30 minutes. Maggie.
All right, I got the rookie Patrick Dodds with me. Patrick, me and you talked about this earlier this week. Even though Panther City's out of a playoff run, you said this game mattered for the tone for next year. What tone do you think the team is setting right now?
Yeah, of course. Our back half of the season is we've been playing kind of how we wanted to play, how we think we can play. Obviously, we're pretty bummed we're not in the playoff run anymore, but I think finishing this one strong and going into training camp strong, and that kind of paves the way for next season already.
And we're definitely looking offensively strong. And you yourself, 2 goals already in just this second quarter. What can we expect from you in the second half?
I think we just got to kind of keep shooting the ball around the screens. We hit some bodies in the first and second, but if we get it on net, it's looking like it's got a good chance of going in right now, so we'll be all right.
All right, thanks, Patrick. Ron?
All right, Patrick Dodds, a couple of goals tonight. Halftime, 8-7. Panther City in their first season in the league with the advantage. Coming up, it'll be the guaranteed halftime report. Teddy and company, we're going to take a look at all their picks for MVP, goaltender of the year, and everything else, plus highlights and stats, all coming up next. Welcome back to the Guaranteed Rate Halftime Report. We're inside of Dickies Arena. Halftime with Panther City and the Rush. With the playoffs approaching, Teddy Jenner, Mitch Belisle, and Devin Cady, they look back on the season. They talk about their picks for Rookie of the Year, Goaltender of the Year, and MVP on special edition of Coast to Coast.
Welcome to Coast Halftime. Teddy Jenner, Mitch Belisle. Guys, thanks as always. Such a pleasure. Today we're going to get into some regular season awards because the playoffs are, of course, upon us, and we know all bets are off when it comes to playoffs. Teddy, let's start with you.
All right, I'm going to get the easy ones out of the way first. Rookie of the Year, Jeff Teague. Yes, I said someone else would win it way back when we first started this. I'll eat my crow. Jeff Teague proved me wrong. Goalie of the Year, Matt Vince. He's just been the best of the best between the players. Which leads me to my MVP of the year, and we talked about this before right here on Coast to Coast. Dane Smith is the most outstanding player. But if you take Matt Vince off of that team, they are not a first place team. He leads the league in wins, save percentage. He's third in minutes, third in goals against. He's only not played like 16 minutes all year long. Matt Vince is your MVP. Without him, the Buffalo Bandits are not where they are. Give me Matt Vince as the MVP.
All right. Mitch, what about you?
Well, I will concur with Matt Vince as the goalie of the year. The only person who seemed to have his number this entire year was, of course, the rookie of the year, Jeff Teague, who went off for quite a few against Vino, but he had an outstanding season. And then Rookie of the Year, like you said, there's really no debate at this point in the season. I actually called the Panther City game last week, and I went up to Dan Teed after the game, and I said, hey, I know Jeff broke the record. How'd he do? He said, 2-8. Yeah, so no big deal. Just capping it off with a 10-point weekend. And then my MVP, in the similar vein as you, Teddy, I think it's the guy who's the most valuable player to their team, and that's Buffalo Joe Rezateritz. He scored 24.5% of his goals. The only other guys that are even close to that is Lyle with 23% of his team's goals and Tom Schreiber with 23. Also borderline MVP candidates. So I think Joe Rezateritz is the most valuable player in the NLL this year.
Kind of different takes than you guys. I've got Dane Smith as my most valuable player, Matt Vince as my goaltender of the year, and then rookie of the year. Can't deny that Jeff Teed has been amazing, but I thought I'd shake things up and go with Reed Bowering because he leads the league in forced turnovers. He's third in loose balls, and he's close to breaking a league record for most loose balls by a rookie. So I think that he's just had an incredible season, and we've got to give some love to some transition and defensemen, guys. I feel like all the glory goes to these guys who are scoring goals, and Reed Bowering's out here having himself a season. Teddy Jenner, Mitch Belisle, thank you so much. As always, such a pleasure. Now we'll gear up for playoffs. We'll see if our takes hold through the playoffs.
Welcome back to the Guaranteed Halftime Report. Quickly recapping, in the first, Saskatchewan went up 2-0, but at the end of one, Panther City led 4-3. Now they lead 8-7. Let's review some scores from around the league, brought to you by BetMGM, the official sports book of the NLL. Well, the East, things are settling down. The Eastern Conference playoffs, Albany has secured the number 4 spot. They're going to be playing Buffalo next Saturday at 7:30 Eastern time. Toronto, the number 2 seed, they'll be meeting Halifax. That'll be Friday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. And of course, we're going to keep an eye on the Colorado, Calgary, and San Diego, Vancouver games as those teams jockeying for position here late in the season. And again, taking a look at what's coming up, it'll be on ESPN Plus and TSN. All the games in the National Lacrosse League will be on ESPN Plus or TSN or both. And we've got a good game here at Dickies Arena. 8-7 our score. We come back on the other side of the break. We'll break the first half down. Welcome back inside Dickies Arena along with Maggie Hale and Kieran Lemming. I'm Ron Thulin. Saskatchewan has made their way back to the turf, and we are moments away from the start of the second half of play. Let's take a look at some of the numbers. What has stood out for you, partner?
Yeah, I think we were talking, Kevin Orleman's done an excellent job in cage. And at the face-off X, Panther City's been using Matt Hossack a little bit more, and it seems like Mike Messenger's been able to get the best of him.
Well, you see the saves for Kevin Orleman, 41 saves. That is the best he had this season. That was back on January the 15th. This is the best since then. Let's check in with Maggie Hale quickly on the floor.
Team did not expect was the firing of their head coach, Jeff McComb. I talked to him earlier in the week. He said the coaching change was definitely a surprise, but he told me that the team's goal was to just finish strong and be the team they wanted to be going forward. Ron?
We see him there. He is the associate head coach, but he is the head coach in waiting. That's part of what he said. He goes, it was hard when one of your friends, and Jeff McComb, gets relieved of his duties.
Yeah, he also said it's tough, though. There's not a lot of these jobs floating around, and especially he's been with this franchise so long, back when they were in Edmonton. He's on kind of a no-brainer.
Well, the other associate head coach is Derek Keenan. Keenan was general manager of the year, the Les Bartley coach of the year 3 times as a player, won rookie of the year in '92. They got just a little bit of experience on that bench. And of coach's son also plays for Saskatchewan. So Panther City with a lead at 8-7. Malcolm will try to set up the offense near side. He gives it up. Dodds, look, shot by Caputo. No. Dodds does a nice job trying to push away Saskatchewan, but they come up with a loose rock. Shot, no. Easy save for Orleman using that right hand.
Oh, this
almost
could be the
a
dangerous.
Oh, that was a no-brainer there. Hutchison near side, waits for it. Shot, no. Again, Dunkerley goes to the knees.
We still have Travis Cornwall's helmet in the corner there. I can't really see how that wasn't a call. Mike Messenger just dropped his shoulder and popped that helmet right off.
Well, I've been watching Messenger without the ball a lot of times. Let's just say he's aggressive. Quick shot by Matthews. No. Score, though, on the rebound.
Yeah, that's a great job off of the end boards. Church being ready, finding that ball, and again, talking about how far Orleman plays out, it's next to impossible to get to that pipe.
So we are tied at 8. Church comes up with a goal. That is his second of the ball game.
It's a great job being ready and just having the wherewithal to have your hands set as soon as that ball comes off the end boards, right to him.
Now you do a lot of coaching. Is that hard for young players to learn?
I'd say especially for players newer to box lacrosse, definitely. They're ready for the ball to go out of bounds, chase it, try to back it up. Not that it's going to come back at you just as hard as the shot was released.
Well, Jeremy Thompson back in the center spot trying to get the face-off. We were talking during the break amongst ourselves. Panther City just 7 of 17 on face-offs. Jeremy Thompson didn't take every one of them in that first half.
Yeah, Mike Messenger does a good job, and maybe, later in the season, more bumps and bruises. JT might not want to be out there for every one of them, but Mike Messenger's raring to go and using his physicality and athleticism to, dominate at the face-off X.
Well, last 2 games, Messenger has won 60% of his face-offs. Panther City with inside of 14 to shoot. Dodds just taking his time. Talked to him last week about how he looks for the picks and where he can go off those picks. Didn't see anything there. And Saskatchewan quickly up with Dilks. Dilks gives it up near side now. They'll set up the offense. Here is Keenan. Keenan looks. Thought he was going to pull the trigger on it. Gave it up instead. Orleman comes way out. Ball knocked away. Burns comes up with a loose ball.
It's a great save by Orleman. Panther City's got to find a way to get out on these guys' gloves.
House gives it up to Thompson. Thompson's really increased his offense this season. Before the game, talking to him about how special of a player he has been, not only to this team, but also the city. He goes, I'm just having fun.
Yeah, for a guy of his size, he does an excellent job dropping his shoulder and being physical.
Oh, Thompson on the doorstep.
That's a great way to start the half if you're Dunkerley. That's a huge save.
Boy, it looked like Thompson was going to shove that in there, just couldn't get it to go. Right on the doorstep. Shot and score down the other end.
That's a great job by Keenan coming off of the bench. I love to see players, as soon as they step on the floor, just go straight to the goal. What's the worst thing that's going to happen?
So Saskatchewan regains the lead. And one more time.
Right off the bench, they get Keenan the ball right away. He's on the wrong side of the floor, but he just goes straight to the goal and makes the most out of the opportunity.
So just like the first quarter, when the Rush opened up scoring with 2 quick goals, they did the same here in the third, 2 quick goals. It's important for Panther City to win those faceoffs. We talked about Jeremy Thompson.
Yeah, we had a couple new guys there. We had Hossack and Garland.
You know, Jeremy Thompson closing in on a record for him for faceoff wins. But I think you made a great point. Maybe doesn't want the bumps and bruises now.
And it's especially great if they can continue to use him on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, he can only play so many minutes.
Farrell tried to sneak behind the defense. Dodds sets it up, has to give it up far side. Shot, no. Dodds keeps it up, fresh shot clock for Panther City. They're spreading things open. Now they're trying to get something on the inside. Milligan cannot find any room to move when he gets inside.
Yeah, Garland paid the price on that one, but they know, I mean, the Panther City's been doing a great job shooting those screens. They got to block it. No, here we go.
Here we go. We got a little fisticuffs going on here. And it's Grennan again. Grennan does not like when somebody takes advantage of his roomie, Will Malcolm.
I thought for sure Beers would get his stuff off and go for a fight there.
And I like how Grennan looks over and gives everybody a salute as he went to the bench. Grennan was not backing down on that at all. I mean, you look at Beers, he's 6'3", 205. Grennan is a lenient 5'10".
Yeah, Beers has a bit of a reputation. As a fighter.
And you see that again, and Grennan getting pushed around.
Yeah.
Then he's being stood up. He goes, "Hey, man!" Oh, there was the elbow.
Yeah. And again, for Grennan's size, he's got a massive heart. He's not going to back down to anyone.
Well, for the last 5 games, Matt Beers has been in the penalty box.
2 minutes. Rough.
You don't see a lot of rookies standing up to Matt Beers like that.
5'10" rookies.
Yes. Good point.
Like that. You know, it's interesting because Grennan plays with such energy. He's number 2, by the way, in penalty minutes for Panther City. But he plays with such energy and a smile. Last week, watching as a spectator, after their first warm-up, I watched Grennan and a number of other players, but Grennan stood out at the tunnel, signing autographs, jerseys, posing for pictures, flipping balls to kids. And it is a minimum of 10 to 15 minutes. So Panther City out of power play in that first half. They were a 1 of 2. They've got to take advantage of it now as they find themselves down by a goal.
Yeah, it looks like the Rush are really going to take their time here and eat up the penalty time.
Well, that's what the plan usually is. Matthews near side, takes his time. Trying to go overhand. Good job defensively by Panther City. Hossack doing a nice job keeping an eye.
Good eat right there.
Yeah. And Panther City with 1:10 left in the penalty with another golden opportunity. Malcolm wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
Like, why'd you throw me the ball? Here's Caputo. Dodds back to Caputo. Back to Dodds. Dodds looking for an opening. Can't find it. Little behind the back. Shot. No. Won't go for Milligan. That'll be a shot clock violation. Not a good set for Panther City.
Yeah, it looks like they're a little bit out of rhythm there on that power play. They're trying to make the most out of that ball movement, but it's got to be a little faster.
I think you saw Dan Teeth there in the blue or purple saying, you got to move it. You got to move it. We've got a timeout. 9:58 to play in the third. Panther City on a power play, down by a goal. Well, you look at the rookie point leaders. Jeff Teat, of course, he is the odds-on favorite and should be the rookie of the year. He's 22 points ahead of Patrick Dodds, but what a season Dodds had. 31 points, more than what he thought he could get this year.
Yeah, definitely, and I don't think Patrick Dodds came in, no one really expected this. I think Jeff Teat and Dehogan Andekog, those guys garner a lot of a big reputation, but Patrick Dodds is definitely cementing himself as the future of this franchise.
I'll go back to the day that standing in the hallway, getting ready to talk to Coach Koluski, shot, score by Saskatchewan, and we'll have to get back to that. What an outstanding third quarter for the Rush.
Oh, it looks like
Orleman is down. I'm not sure if he's stretching or if he got hurt.
Yeah, not quite sure on that one, if maybe overextended, but it was a good goal, simple. Lintner just getting to the middle. Looks like the Medeiros thought, he was going to shoot even sooner. Didn't really get out on his gloves, but I mean, from there, it's hard to miss.
Well, Lintner gets his first goal of the ball game. And Saskatchewan with tying their biggest lead of the game at 10-8. 3 goals here already in the first 5 minutes and 10 seconds for Saskatchewan. They're going to take a look at that left calf, trying to stretch it out a little bit. Again, Nick Damoud in his second year has done an outstanding job in goal for Panther City. He's come up with some clutch saves, and players were pointing to him last week of just how big he was to this team. Getting back to the Patrick Dodds story, earlier this season, standing in the hallway, Tracy Koluski and I are talking. He goes, listen, I got to go test for COVID. About 10 minutes, comes running back out, and Patrick Dodds is with him. They both tested positive. Of course, TK, first thing he said is, Ronnie, go get tested. But they spent time together in the hotel, and Dodds spent time watching tape, spending time on the phone, talking to TK, picking his brain over everything, and Coach is saying, that probably is what really pushed him another notch up.
Yeah, that's a great way to, gain a lot of experience. You and your coach being in the exact same situation with nothing but time to kill. It's really helped. It's really helped him become a better student of the game.
Well, things could get really interesting now. 33 seconds still left in the penalty on Beers. He sits in the penalty box. Panther City not able to really take advantage of it so far. Still a lot of time left. Caputo near side, trying to set things up. Caputo looking for a little bit of opening, gives it up to Dodds. Caputo cuts. No, can't get it. 9 to shoot. Caputo tries to sneak it in. No.
That was tough. That would have been a great goal. Really get things back going for Panther City, taking advantage of the power play.
Caputo showing a lot of physicality, trying to punch it in. Their penalty is over. Beers out of the box. Both teams back at full strength. 6 minutes gone by here in the third. Matthews with that big body. That's a tough cover for anybody. Quick shot by Keenan.
Yeah, Matthews does an excellent job, with that frame, but getting his hands away from the defender, draped all over him, but he can still make moves, have his head on a swivel, and, backhand, front hand, whatever, get the ball out of his stick and find an open guy.
Church gives it up, still looking to get it inside. Plenty of time on the shot clock. Panther City hounding defensively on Keenan. Here is Matthews. The 32-year-old, they whiff on the shot. Lintner thought he had it, lost it. It's going to be a shot clock violation. No, they do get a shot off, but Panther City will come up with it. Panther City has not looked as in sync here in the third as they did in the second, especially offensively.
Yeah, definitely offensively, they're still kind of finding their rhythm.
Shot no. Dunkerley going to the knees. Dunkerley's 19th save. 4-0 run for Saskatchewan dating back to Matthews' goal with 36.5 left in quarter number 2. Gave Saskatchewan the 8-7 lead. And now numbers again for Panther City.
Oh.
And again, they don't take advantage of it.
Medeiros keeps trying. He's done an excellent job and been a real threat in transition.
I tell you, Medeiros has been all over the place. Number 3 and rookie for loose balls this season. Point blank range, shot no. Good job by Orleman.
Yeah, good big bounce back. That was a great 3-on-2 right there, and Holden Garland reaching for that to get around Orleman.
Garland, another one of those big guys at 6'2", 198. Panther City trying to get something going. Can't even get a shot off. Cornwall looked like he had a little bit of room, lost it. And again, Saskatchewan setting things up. Here is Matthews near side. Matthews already with a couple of goals. And that's just an unforced error. Panther City comes up with it with Chad Cummings. Look, no, good shot. Again, opportunity, can't capitalize. And they'll have to set things up again with Cummings.
Great decision to push that 3-on-2 when your team needs a goal, and Burns almost with a big ground ball.
Here is Milligan. What an addition he has been to this team. Late pickup, shot no. Dunkerley goes to the knees again.
That's
Mallory
what you want to see.
up.
That's what you want to see out of Anthony Malcolm. Getting, cutting hard, going low, and then sweeping back across. That's where he gets the best angle shots and really make Dunkerley move.
They haven't made him move a whole lot here in the second half. 10 to shoot. Orleman comes up with a save. Orleman 22 saves already in the ballgame. 33 shots for Panther City. 33 shots for Saskatchewan. Caputo looks for the open low. Dunkerley had to go low to get that. Dunkerley has been impressive. Here is Garland. He is being hounded. Pressing the action. Garland being run off the boards. Stays control of it. Good job by Holden Garland. He has really come on strong the last couple of weeks, coach is telling us. Here is Garland again. Look, shoots, scores! Garland, no goals the last 3 games, comes up with his 7th of the year.
Yeah, he's really taken a big step in his game offensively. That was a great inside roll, great fake to just put it low. See Orleman wincing a little bit there, but yeah, looking at the replay here, big inside roll, does a good job keeping Patton on his back and coming all the way across. And he does a good job being patient as well. As Orleman comes across and his legs are open, that's when, put it 5 full.
So Garland gets his 8th goal of the season, his 2nd one tonight. Got his first at the 4:24 mark of quarter number 2. And this is the biggest lead of the game for either team at 3, 11-8. It has been a heck of an end of the second quarter and start of the third quarter for the Rush. They have been impressive. I mean, you look at the pedigree of this team. Again, we mentioned earlier, 3 of the last 5 league titles have gone to Saskatchewan. In a transition period, they've got great ownership, great fans. This is an anomaly. Wait till next year.
Yeah, not a lot of people think of Saskatchewan as a lacrosse hotbed, and in all honesty, it isn't. But they've done a great job involving the community and building a great fan base.
Connor Sellers has to give it up. Hosick, no. Loose ball, nobody went and picked it up. Dodge tried to finally get it, but with 4:20 to play, Saskatchewan feeling pretty confident, and they should be. Trying to win their 4th consecutive game again without Jeff Schattler not playing tonight. He was a healthy scratch. So he finished his career last week in style with the framed jersey, the plaque, and the ceremony before the game. We were really looking forward for him playing tonight. Unfortunately, he's not.
I think it was, really special that he could share that with his family, having his boys out on the floor at the end of the game. Like that is a pretty great way to end your career.
I'll tell you, the Milligan-Farrell duo, they need to start producing here. Brennan, being feisty as usual, goes to his knees, and he is tied up again. You gotta love the guy.
Yeah, it looks like they really want a piece of him, but you can tell from that salute, Grennan's not going to back down, or he'll give the attitude right back.
Now we've got a timeout on the floor. 3:31 to play in the third. Saskatchewan on a roll. They lead it 11-8. Welcome back inside of Dickies Arena. What a debut in his first career start for Cameron Dunkerley, the 22-year-old. How about 30 saves tonight? Now, we were just debating about that because Panther City has taken 34 shots. They've scored 8 goals. Somehow the math isn't computing there. But we're going to go with what the official stat says.
Yeah, this is a great audition for Dunkerley. Moving into next year with Las Vegas entering the league, I wonder if this is a guy, is he going to be able to find a spot as a starting goalie with the Rush or elsewhere?
I tell you, the Las Vegas franchise, what an ownership group they have. You want to play golf, you want to play hockey, you want to play basketball, our owners can beat your owners. Obviously, Wayne Gretzky, Steve Nash. A couple of the owners, shot won't go. Panther City looking out of sync offensively, not really getting any good looks. Now they're just kind of swiping at the ball.
Yeah, and it's the little stuff. That was a great opportunity pushing transition, but Patrick Foley kind of fades into the corner there instead of finishing in front.
And Saskatchewan again in this quarter, 4 goals. After trailing 8-7 at intermission. Shot again, this time Orleman goes high. I guess the calf seems to be okay. In any sport, coaches always talk about closing out quarters on a run. Same holds true for lacrosse?
Yeah, definitely. If they can keep the momentum going this way, like I said, at halftime it looks like they've made some adjustments. That they're playing hard, they're playing physical, and Panther City doesn't look the same as they did in the first half.
Dodge was trying to sneak in behind. The high shot won't go. Dodge has a look at it. 2 on the shot clock. And Sass will just let the time run out.
It was interesting seeing them locking off Caputo there.
Yes. You look at what they're doing to Patrick Dodge. They're picking him up early. They're taking him out of his comfort zone a lot where he wants to shoot from. Inside of 2 to play here in the third. Falling down. Ooh, someone may have gotten that right in the kisser, I think. I'm not sure if Keenan took one in the face there, or the top of the helmet. Panther City not scored here in the third. Here's Milligan. Best IQ on the team, says Tracy Koluski. 3 to shoot. Got to get something going. A little behind the back, won't go. Dodge can't find the net, and with 1:18 to play, the Rush have it with a lead. What's the biggest adjustment Saskatchewan has made here in the second half?
I think they just keep throwing different things at Panther City, like we were just talking about Caputo getting locked off. They're going to play different ways. So whatever rhythm Panther City might be getting from one possession to the next is kind of disappearing if they're going to do something totally different next time down.
Matthews is so strong, just used that left arm to keep the defender away, but Panther City on a
there we
breakaway to goal! Connor Sellers finds the net.
Again, more help offensively from the D guys. This is what Panther City is going to need to keep doing. Push transition, make the most out of any opportunity they get. Sellers does a great job reaching for that far pipe, and as Dunkerley steps out, he just gets a little too low.
Connor Sellers did not have a goal this season coming into tonight. He's got 2 this evening. He is a big guy. He's a strong guy. Played 4 years with the Georgia Swarm. Jeremy Thompson back in the face-off circle. Didn't get that one. Final 40 seconds upcoming. Panther City pulls within 2. Remember the last time these two teams met here in Fort Worth? It went to overtime with Will Malcolm getting the game winner for Panther City. Final 25 seconds, about a 3-second difference between the shot of the game clock. Caputo has to give it up. Caputo gets hit as soon as he releases the ball. Trying to find some room. Here's Dodds. 10 to shoot to Caputo. Caputo looking, firing, no. Final 5 seconds, and this is probably the way quarter number 3 will end. Big shot high, and that's it. But what a quarter for Saskatchewan. They score the first 4 goals of the third. The last goal of the second took a big lead at 11-8, but Panther City came back to pull within 2. We still have 15 minutes left in the regular season for these two teams. Who will claim the Pride title tonight? We head to the final quarter with Saskatchewan leading Panther City 11-9. You too can get game day ready and shop your favorite team's jerseys and merchandise. Head to NLLshop.com to get all your National Lacrosse League and team gear today. Talk to the top of the show. There are some playoff possibilities going on right now, especially in the West. As far as seedings are concerned, right now, Calgary leads Colorado 9-3. Calgary wins and San Diego wins. San Diego will be the #1 seed. Calgary would go to 2. Colorado will be number 3 if that all plays out. How important is it for Panther City now to come out with a little oomph?
Yeah, I'd say those last 2 offensive possessions, there's a little bit more of a pep in their step. Hopefully they can carry that energy into the 4th quarter and put a couple goals on the board.
Great feed
around
inside,
the world.
almost behind the back. Great play drawn up by the offense.
Oh, great hustle back by Malcolm.
Malcolm doing a nice job playing both ways, and they have an opportunity again. Cornwall lost it, had to get control of it. Gets it into the hands of Malcolm, one of the players that has lived here in the Fort Worth area during this season.
Oh, Jeremy Thompson taking on the double team there.
Thompson getting beat around, and it's late in the season. You don't like to get that beat up. And Dilks brings it up, and he will set it up, and he's going to stay in on offense. Dilks looks to set a couple of picks. We've got a whistle, and I think it's going to be a timeout.
Just wondering if someone came off the bench a little early there.
I think that's what it is. We'll listen in.
Penalty on the rush. 2 minutes. Too many men.
And that means Mallory will go to the box for 2 minutes. But can Panther City take advantage of this?
Yeah, this is a big opportunity to get back into this game.
Panther City already with 1 power play goal, but they need a couple of more as they trail by 2. Again, looks like Panther City tightening things up on offense. Malcolm, good quick passes. No, right in the middle.
Oh.
No. Good job by Dunkerley clogging things up, and the Rush will have it.
Yeah, playing that 5 on a die with that guy in the middle, you know, the defense didn't really collapse that much, and they didn't really fall for the play there. That was a huge loose ball by Caputo and a great opportunity.
Boy, Messenger, he's not afraid to go 1-on-2. He muscles with anybody.
Yeah.
Tried to get the shot off, couldn't get it, but he is impressive. 8 games, double-figure loose balls this season for Mike Messenger. And Panther City will go. 2 minutes gone by here in the third. Both teams ending their season, both teams coming in at 7-10. Saskatchewan riding a 3-game win streak. Panther City's won 3 of their last 4 at home. Quick stick.
great ball movement, and those are the kind of opportunities you want to see.
Farrell had a chance, couldn't get it down. I tell you, see, as players are making the transition offense-defense, you notice there's a little more shoving, a little elbowing going on as players are running off the turf.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see if that energy picks up and we continue to see a little bit of the rough stuff, or they're just going to be focused on trying to win the game.
Great play by Saskatchewan. Can't finish it out. Panther City will have it. Cornwall will wait for the offense to come up, and he will give it up. Cornwall, first Panther City goal of the season. It was also his first goal since 2018 in game number 1 this year. Penalty is over. Malcolm on top. Shot by Caputo, no. Dunkerley, well aware where it was, cleans it up.
Yeah, I think part of the Rush's momentum swing is Dunkerley's playing even better on these outside shots.
Mallory trying to sneak behind the defense. They set it up. Here's Church. Church battling. Good job defensively. Church lets it fly. They keep possession of it with Mallory. Fresh 30 on the shot clock. Mallory tried to park in the middle. He was pushed out of the way by Malcolm.
The Rush continue to do a great job getting the ball east to west.
That's a great point. Bodies are flying everywhere, right on the doorstep. Courier can't finish it out. I tell you, Will Malcolm has spent a lot of time on the turf. We haven't seen him run off very much. He's been almost going 2 ways. Now he's going to get a little bit of a breather. Trying to get something going. Brennan on top, wants it. Not going to get it to him. They get it to Farrell. Farrell shot, no. Bounces up. Brennan with a rebound, and he is hit immediately. That's going to be a shot clock violation. Kyle Rubish was right there to meet him.
Yeah, Jeremy Thompson did a great job on that last possession, getting underneath, initiating, trying to create something.
Jeremy Thompson has really improved his offensive game because they needed him to. Here comes Panther City. Cummings sets it up, gives it back to Cornwall. Wait for the rest of the offense to come down. Malcolm back on the turf. Got about a 30-second breather.
And I think this short change for Panther City and the Panther City's offense in this fourth quarter will help them get a little bit more in rhythm as soon as guys step on.
Boy, Grennan gets the shot. As soon as he does, Messenger hits him from behind and decks him. 9:35 to play in the third. Panther City trying to tighten up their defense, playing it off the boards. Good job by Church. Church wide right on the rebound, picked up, and a score.
That's a really nice play. I'm sure Orleman thought, hey, he's going to continue to sweep and get to the middle, but he hides his stick behind his body, puts it over his shoulder, and finds that top corner. That's a great goal by Keenan. Very slick.
So Keenan gets the goal, increases the lead down to 3. We'll look at it one more time.
Yeah, he does a great job protecting his stick from the defender, and Orleman just couldn't really see it coming until it was, past him.
So Keenan gets his second goal of the night, and it was an impressive one. Ryan Keenan versus Panther City in game 1. He had 6 assists in that contest. He's now had 4 or 5 goals in the last 3 games. So he has had a hot hand too, as has this entire Rush team. Now Panther City finds themselves down by 3. Coming back from big leads has not been the forte of Panther City this year, but they have been able to do it at times.
And it seems like we're getting a lot more of the matchup of Thompson and Messenger at the face-off X. It's interesting to think about how much Messengers may have learned from Jeremy Thompson with his time at the Rush.
Absolutely. Jeremy Thompson, one of the all-time greats in Rush history. In fact, he's the Saskatchewan leader in loose balls. You look in their record books. Lead is 3. Saskatchewan, though, is not satisfied with this margin. want to redeem themselves from that overtime loss. And it'll be Panther City ball. And with that, we're going to take a timeout. 8 minutes and 25 seconds left to play in the ball game. Final game of the 2022 regular season. And right now, Saskatchewan leading Panther City 12-9. Twelve to 9 is our score. Saskatchewan Rush leading Panther City by the score of 12-9. And you can see other scores. Colorado trailing Calgary 10-4. That is in the third quarter. These are all for positioning as far as seedings are concerned. Again, there's so many different scenarios. And then San Diego and Vancouver. San Diego obviously trying to get the #1 seed, and they will if they win that game. And right now they are tied up with Vancouver 2-2.
And that seeding can be so important, especially as the #1 team getting a East Coast team coming across the country. Hopefully that can play to their advantage.
Now, one of the things the Panther City Lacrosse Club has done, they've really brought in young people. Lacrosse is a fast-growing sport here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. President, General Manager, Managing Partner Greg Bibb has done a great job, and his marketing staff trying to get these youngsters out to the game. And this sport is going to grow here in Fort Worth. Beautiful arena. Probably one of the best. Panther City tried to sneak one in with Caputo. In fact, earlier today, Fort Worth Mayor Maddie Parker was given a PCL jersey this morning because the team wanted to thank her and all the City Council of Fort Worth for making such a great effort to get Panther City to be part of the NLL this year. Congratulations, Mayor Parker. Now Panther City needs to pay that off with a little bit of energy here on offense. Trying to push the ball. We saw that early, but Saskatchewan has done a nice job defensively closing things up, making things difficult. Quick shot, Milligan, no. You like that though. You kind of squirmed there on that.
Yeah, I don't know if this is a special game in particular. I just feel like there's a lot of pipes.
I think there is too. Here's Malcolm. Malcolm cuts. They saw him for a second. Pass went behind him. Now Malcolm fights in the corner. Still fighting. Rush come out with it as we go inside of 7 minutes left to play in the ball game. And Mallory, he sees the double team, putting a little pressure on him. Patrick Foley, the rookie, who's had a nice job defensively this year. Orleman covers it up. And it'll be Panther City's ball. Tip of the hat to Patrick Foley. He had a career high 5 caused turnovers last game versus Georgia. Coaches say they're very high on him. Cummings dancing around. Can't get the pass to get into the net of Farrell.
Yeah, and they barely even, they only had 2 offensive guys on the floor there.
That's tough to come back from a 3-goal deficit when that's the case. Nothing against those on the floor. Boy, you look at Matthews. He wanted to make some room, and he just started shoving people. He lost his stick. Still on the ground, and Panther City's not letting him get to it.
Yeah, I think he's the one who drew the penalty there.
Yeah. And that was pretty good because Patton would not allow him to get to the stick. Matthews ends up just shoving him. And Matthews is going to go to the penalty box. You and I were standing in the tunnel before the game, and Matthews walked by, and I turned to you and I said, that's a big boy.
Panther City penalty.
He is bigger than the 6'5", 230 they list him as.
Yeah, there's not a lot of offensive guys with his frame. I mean, his IQ, his hands, it just, he's so lethal. There's so many things he can do.
Well, he's going to have to sit down for a little bit. Now let's check in with Maggie Hale. Maggie.
All right, guys, standing over there by the bench, you could tell the coach had an energy change after halftime, and that energy shift was him telling his players they need to attack. Coach yelling at the team is definitely showing on the field in these players. This attack mentality is something that all teams want to finish their season with. Nobody wants to leave with unfinished business, and this is definitely why we're seeing that offense go off. Ron?
Great point. Good job, Maggie. By the way, the penalty was not on Matthews. It was on Dylan Hutchinson, so he's in the penalty box for another minute and 18 seconds as we go inside of 5:15 left. And we saw that beginning of the year. In the fourth period in a couple of games this year, Panther City in crucial situations have picked up penalties, and it's really bit them in the behind.
Yeah, especially with how hot this Saskatchewan Rush power play is right now.
Here is Church, tries to scoop it behind, can't get it to go. Orleman, for the most part, has done a nice job so far tonight. They quickly move it ahead. Got to wait for the rest of the team. Burns, he's going to stay on the floor. And Burns, he gives it up. This time he will run off. Near side is Grennan. They want him with the ball. Grennan already a couple tonight. Looks. Good job defensively. Panther City keeps it alive. Shot. No! Boy, we heard that clink up here.
That was great that Dunkerley could sense where the ball was and, you know, roll, do whatever he had to do to make sure he kept the ball outside the goal.
I tell you, Dunkerley, yeoman's effort on that last play. We could hear that hit the pads way up top at Dickies Arena. We got a break. 4:27 left to play in the ball game. Panther City trailing Saskatchewan by 3. Now let's take a look at the Fanatics' turning point of the game, and it came in the first couple of minutes, first 3 minutes to be exact, of quarter number 3. Church gets his second at the 13:47 mark to tie it up at 8, and then Keenan at the 12:06 mark. He gives Saskatchewan the 9-8 lead. It was a good start for Saskatchewan to begin the third.
Yeah, both of those plays are just offensive players always being ready to score a goal. Church getting it off the backboards, and as soon as Keenan steps on the floor, he's headed straight to the goal.
Well, Church had it, gave it up to Matthews. Now looking for Church again. This time the shot rifled in by Keenan. No. Ball knocked around. Powless with a goal tonight. Fights for it, and it'll be another possession. Still 7 seconds left in the penalty to Dylan Hutchinson. He is set to leave the box. Matthews just holds on to it. Here comes Hutchinson. Why did Hutchinson wait when they had 10 seconds left on the penalty?
I think he was trying to judge if there was, and there's a goal.
And there is a goal. Slicing it is Keenan again, who's having a whale of a night tonight.
And that's a hat trick for Keenan. Again, ball's in his stick. He's moving his feet. He's looking for any opportunity to score. He ends up on the wrong side of the floor, but he sees it perfectly as Orleman takes a big step out and puts a 5-hole.
As mentioned, Keenan gets the hat trick. 21 goals on this season. Of course, his dad, Derek, is the associate head coach and has won titles, but what a job by Ryan Keenan, the 27-year-old. You know, at the beginning of the year, the last time they were here, I should say, coaches were telling us they wanted him to shoot more. Well, he has tonight. He's got the first 2 goals and the only 2 goals for Saskatchewan here in the fourth. And the lead is 4.
Yeah, and Keenan will continue to be a leader and step up on that left side as Shatler retires.
And Panther City has pulled Orleman. They know they got to get something going. Shot, no. Good job by Dunkerley. I'll tell you, Dunkerley would be my MVP tonight if we were giving it away.
Yeah, he's really stepped up and made the most out of this opportunity.
Did not look flustered a couple of times on breakaways. Came up with some big saves. Even after he gave up a couple of goals, didn't seem to faze him. Church tried to set a couple of picks. They throw it away. Then Orleman again will head to the bench. Now Malcolm got to get something going offensively. Back to Malcolm. Malcolm looks, shoots, no, wide right. He'll get his own rebound, try it again. 2.5 to play in the ball game. 10 on the shot clock. Panther City not going to get a good look at it.
Oh,
and we got guys tying
here we
up.
go. Here we go.
Beers again takes a couple of swings.
Well, I think we could have any number of matchups here right now.
Now we saw Beers take the swing. Farrell is in on it. And they're still pushing and shoving. Rubish is trying to play peacekeeper, I think. Grennan was also down there. That's a shock.
Yeah, we talked about teammates looking after each other. That was a little bit of a no-brainer. Beers got it right in the back to kick that off, and then everyone wanted to help their teammates out.
That's part of the code. You got to do that. Both teams are going to get penalties. I think Farrell's going to head to the penalty box for Panther City. Farrell, Rookie of the Week back in March the 19th. 3 goals, 3 assists during that game.
Looks like we have Dodds and Beers in the penalty box.
Now Beers, this is his second
Panther City
visit
penalty, 2 minutes.
To the penalty box.
Sask penalty, 2 minutes, rough.
We should send him down a hot dog. There is Matt Beers. And here it is again.
Yeah, it looks like it begins with Patrick Dodds pushing Beers in the back there, and yeah, everyone trying to look after each other there. Oh yeah, Beers really wanted a piece of Farrell. Farrell's still trying to get his helmet figured out.
Yeah, I think they got everything sorted out. Bottom line is both teams have people in the penalty box. There's only 2:21. And the Rush have played extremely well in the second half and opened up a 4-goal advantage.
Yeah, and with those offsetting penalties, we'll see 5 on 5, but Panther City has pulled Orleman again.
And they have to do something. Malcolm, no. It's just great defense. And we talked about that when you have Rubish, Corbeil, Dilks.
I don't know how Phil Caputo holds on to that ball sometimes. 3 guys are on him.
He's a strong dude, but you have that defense that Saskatchewan has. That's impressive.
I mean, obviously, if you're a Rush fan, you're excited about the win streak, but if they can keep some of these defensive veterans, you know, the future of Dunkerley, Keenan's filling a little bit of a hole on the left side with the departure of Shatler. They should be getting back to championships before too long.
Well, Panther City 48 shots on goal tonight, but Saskatchewan, they allow the second fewest shots on goal of anybody in the league. Out of the pack, it's Cummings. Cummings looks for an opening. No. A couple of players right in the middle. They can't finish it out. Grennan was right on the doorstep. Couldn't get to him. Final 65 seconds.
Yeah, it's been tough. They've had lots of, quick stick opportunities getting the ball east to west, but they're just, a little bit too much fumbling it and can't get the shot off.
Now the playoffs will continue not only on ESPN and their platforms, but also TSN. But for us, this is going to be our final telecast of the year. We want to thank everybody who has been a part of it, all our friends in Salt Lake City who have been putting this together, especially the people here at Panther City who have made us feel quite at home. And we thank all of them and all the coaches we've had to deal with this season in a good way. Thank you for all your help, friends. Final 25 seconds. Panther City's first season will be in the books. And I think a lot of people have a tendency of looking at a one-loss record, but I think when it comes to Tracy Koluski, Bob Hamby, the general manager, it goes beyond that, what they wanted to do this year. Yeah,
Coach TK is a competitor. They want to get to the postseason, but yeah, especially that win streak they had, being the hottest team in the league for that while, that's a huge step they needed.
Well, Cameron Dunkerley gets his first NLL win. What a job for this young man tonight. He faced 49 shots, only gave up 9 goals, and Saskatchewan wins it 13-9. We're going to step aside, come back, and we'll wrap things up from Dickies Arena in Fort Worth when we return right after this.
The National Lacrosse League is brought to you by Guaranteed Rate. If you believe it, you can do it. Guaranteed Rate. Believe you will. FanaticsNLLshop.com, a Fanatics experience. Officially licensed everything. And by BetMGM, the official sportsbook of the NLL. Get the BetMGM app today. Now you're winning with the king of sportsbooks. Please bet responsibly.
Inside Dickies Arena, Saskatchewan wins their 4th straight game. They finished 2022 8-10. Panther City finishes at a 7-11 on the season, but the MVP and the hero tonight was Cameron Dunkerley, getting his first win, standing by with Maggie.
All right, I got the Sask goalie with me here. Cameron, first NLL career start, first win for you. What was going on in your head as you went into tonight's game? What was the goal? Were you expecting a win?
Yeah, of course. I mean, going in, playing for Saskatchewan with this group of guys, it's a great group of guys, and we go into every single game expecting to win. So it was great. The team was behind me the whole time, right from the beginning to the end. So just happy we got the win.
Now, Cameron, something about this matchup of teams pulls out a lot of aggression on both sides. I've got to know, where do you think this grit comes from?
Yeah, just natural. It's just natural, right? A lot of the guys have that kind of thing that happens with natural kind of enemies and whatever. And just when it gets an intense game like that, tight scoring, that just kind of happens. So.
And I talked to Panther City's Patrick Dodds about this earlier. He told me the last game always sets the tone for next season. What kind of tone do you think you guys set tonight?
Great. I mean, I think we underachieved. We have a great team, and of course, we're not making the postseason, which is unfortunate. But I think, ending on a 4-game win streak is huge for us. So excited to go into next year.
Congrats on that win tonight. Thank you. Ron?
That's going to be a happy trip home to Saskatoon for that young man and the entire team. And at least they get to stay in Fort Worth tonight and enjoy the city. But a big win for the Rush tonight. They win it again. The final was 13-9. Dunkerley, outstanding job. Final thoughts?
Yeah, it was tough to see Panther City lose at home like that, but really excited for next season. I think the face-off battle, Panther City really bounced back. We saw Jeremy Thompson out there a lot more, and it seems like the power play struggled a little bit as we were talking about. Their offensive rhythm got thrown off, but this Saskatchewan defense was playing tough, smothering. I'm sure there's going to be lots of bumps and bruises in the Panther City locker room.
Now Ryan Keenan, outstanding job. He gets the hat trick. 3 goals, 2 assists, 5 points. One of the main reasons they won, especially in that third quarter, where Saskatchewan outscored Panther City 4-1. Once again, the final 13-9. I want to remind you, those of you watching on ESPN Plus, turnover, watch San Diego, Vancouver, Colorado, Calgary, also being shown on ESPN Plus. And we just found out Philadelphia will be the wild card team in the playoffs. For Kieran Lemming, Maggie Hale, and our entire crew at Dickies Arena in Fort Worth, Texas, I'm Ron Thulin. Thanks so much for watching, and you have been watching the NLL on Saturday night.